No one in Maple Ridge wanted the night janitor job at the old bus station. The place smelled like rust and rain-soaked newspapers. The lights buzzed like angry bees. And the paycheck. Barely enough to cover a week's groceries. People said whoever took that job had to be desperate. And they were right. Because the man who finally took it, Evan Turner, was desperate in every way, except one: he refused to give up. Not on himself. Not on his daughter. And not on the belief that even in the darkest corners of life, kindness still mattered. Before we jump into the story, if you enjoy emotional, true-to-life stories about resilience, hope, and the power of everyday people, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below. It really helps our channel, TruthLines USA, keep bringing you inspiring stories. Now, let's begin. Evan hadn't always been scraping by. A few years earlier, he'd been a proud dad with a good job at a manufacturing plant. He and his wife, Melissa, had shared a small home that always smelled like cinnamon candles, with bedrooms painted in colors they'd chosen together. Life wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. And it was steady. But steady things can collapse faster than anyone expects. Melissa was in a car accident on a rainy November night, and the world Evan knew, his routines, his sense of direction, the certainty of tomorrow, shattered all at once. He became the only parent to their 5-year-old daughter, Lily, who suddenly asked questions no child should ever have to ask. Why did Mommy go away? Will she come back? Are you going to leave too, Daddy? Evan did everything he could to hold the pieces together. But grief is expensive, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes financially. His performance at work slipped. He missed shifts. Eventually, the plant laid him off. The savings drained. Bills piled up. His small rental unit felt colder every day, and the pantry shelves grew emptier. He applied everywhere: hardware stores, delivery companies, gas stations, but the answer was always the same: we'll let you know. No one let him know. Except for one place. The old bus station. The job posting said, immediate hire. That alone made Evan uneasy. Jobs with immediate hires were usually the ones nobody wanted. But when you're a single dad counting every dollar, you take what you can get. So he did. His shift began at 10 p.m., after he put Lily to sleep at the neighbor's apartment. He'd walk across the quiet streets with a thermos of dollar store coffee and a sense of dread he couldn't shake. The station wasn't dangerous, just forgotten. A place people avoided. A place that felt like life's leftovers. At first, the job was exactly what he expected: mopping floors, emptying trash cans that overflowed with stale snack wrappers, chasing away the occasional raccoon that wandered in like it owned the place. But a few nights in, something unexpected happened. It started with an old man sitting on one of the hard plastic benches long after the last bus left. Evan approached him gently, saying, "Sir, the station's closing soon." The old man looked up with tired eyes and replied, "I know. I just don't have anywhere to go tonight." Evan felt something stir inside him. He knew that feeling intimately, that sense of having nowhere that feels safe, nowhere that feels like home. He sat beside him for a moment. "What's your name?" "Ray," the man said. "Worked construction for 40 years. Now my back won't let me. Been couch hopping, but today, ran out of couches." Evan wasn't sure what to say. But he had a peanut butter sandwich in his bag, the only thing he'd managed to bring from home, and he offered half to Ray. It was a tiny gesture. A small kindness. But Ray's eyes softened in a way Evan hadn't seen in anyone for a long time, including himself. "You don't have much either, do you?" Ray whispered. "No," Evan admitted. "But I know what it's like to end a day hungry." Ray took the sandwich. "Thank you, son." For the first time in many months, Evan felt something other than exhaustion. He felt connected. The next few nights were similar. A teenage girl with a torn backpack who said she'd run away from home. A middle-aged woman escaping a bad relationship. A veteran who only spoke when spoken to. Strangers who drifted into the station like ghosts searching for warmth. Evan wasn't supposed to talk to them. His supervisor had told him, "Just clean, don't get involved." But he couldn't help it. These people reminded him of what life looks like when it's falling apart in slow motion. He'd been there. In many ways, he still was. So he became something the station had never had before, a warm presence. He kept a small box in the janitor's closet with anything he could spare, granola bars, spare gloves, a few old jackets. Sometimes he'd quietly slip someone a bus token when they needed to get to a shelter on the other side of town. Other times he just listened. He listened a lot. And slowly, his nights, once heavy with loneliness, began filling with stories. Stories that reminded him that everyone carries invisible weight. Stories that made him realize that kindness wasn't a grand gesture. It was something simple. A sandwich. A seat. A few minutes of patience. One night, around 11:30 p.m., the station doors swung open and a young woman rushed in carrying a screaming toddler. The child was burning with fever. Evan could see it immediately. The mother was frantic, pacing in circles, whispering, "What do I do? What do I do?" Evan approached calmly. "Ma'am, do you need help?" She looked at him with wide, panicked eyes. "My phone died. The bus was delayed. I was trying to get to the urgent care. He's so hot. I'm scared." Without hesitation, Evan pulled out his phone and handed it to her. "Call them. Call anyone you need." While she called for help, Evan grabbed his jacket and wrapped it around the child. He remembered the countless nights Lily had been sick, how Melissa used to place a cool cloth on her forehead and whisper that everything would be okay. The ambulance arrived quickly. As they loaded the little boy in, the mother turned to Evan with tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. People walked right past me outside. You're the only one who stopped." He didn't know what to say except, "I've been the person everyone walks past. I know how much it hurts." The next morning, he came home exhausted but strangely lighter. Something had shifted. His work, this job everyone dismissed, mattered. Maybe not financially, but emotionally. Humanly. A week later, the bus station's new daytime manager asked Evan to come to her office. He braced for bad news. Maybe someone complained. Maybe he broke some rule without realizing it. Instead, she slid a folder across the table. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. Letters from people he'd helped. The teenage girl he'd talked to had gone back home and wrote that Evan's kindness was the first thing that made her feel safe in months. Ray, the older man, had checked into a veterans program and sent a thank you note saying, "Your sandwich gave me hope." The mother of the sick toddler wrote that her son fully recovered, and she credited Evan for acting when others didn't. "We didn't know this was happening," the manager said gently. "But people wrote to the city. They wrote to our office. They said you made the night shift feel human again." Evan blinked, stunned. "I was just trying to be decent. And that," she smiled, "is rare enough to be extraordinary." She offered him a promotion, supervisor of station safety and outreach. A better salary. Benefits. More stable hours. And a small office he could decorate however he wanted. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a lifeline. That night, Evan walked home under the streetlights with a sense of pride he hadn't felt in years. When he opened the door, Lily ran to him, waving a picture she'd drawn. It showed him holding a broom like a hero's sword. "Daddy," she said proudly, "I told my teacher you help people every night." He knelt, hugging her tightly. "I try, sweetheart." "No," she said, tapping his chest. "You do." Evan realized then that kindness had done more than help strangers, kindness had saved him. It gave him purpose when he felt useless. Connection when he felt invisible. And hope when he thought his life had run empty. He had taken the job nobody wanted. And it turned out to be the best decision of his life. Kindness has a way of doing that. It transforms the giver as much as the receiver. It shows us that we don't need perfect lives or perfect circumstances to make a difference. We just need a willing heart and the courage to care. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember Evan. Remember that small acts, an extra sandwich, a few minutes of listening, a simple question like, "Are you okay?" can change more lives than we ever realize. And maybe, just maybe, it can change yours too. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that kindness still matters. Stay kind,